So we're gonna brew another gallon of beer. This time we're gonna do a chocolate milk stout. It's by the company Craft Brew. If you're new to brewing or just starting out, these kits are really easy and make it really convenient. The kit basically comes with the grains there, and these grains you got to dump into this cheesecloth bag, and then you got to put them in hot water and steep them. Then when that's all done, you can get it to a boil. You can add the malt extract. This one came with some lactose. It comes with the sanitizer and the yeast, and then these cocoa nibs will go in after it's been in the fermenter for a week, and then I'll let it sit for another 2 weeks before I bottle it. And so I got this kit, and I always use spring water. I just go buy a jug at the grocery store, cheap spring water. I like spring water better than filtered water. So I dumped my gallon of spring water into my pot. I got my thermometer in there. I got the heat on it on high. I got to get this up to 155 degrees. And then I'm going to put the grains in the cheesecloth bag, and I got to steep them in there for 20 minutes at 155 degrees. I dumped my sanitizer, use half the pack now. The other half is for when you bottle. I dumped it into my empty jug. I put some warm water in there, shook it up, mixed it all up. And then that way I can pour that into this bowl, and I can soak my spoon, and I already sanitized my thermometer, and I can sanitize everything that's going to touch the beer. So there's the grains. I put them in the cheesecloth bag. Like I said, I'm starting to heat this guy up. It's going to take a while. When he gets up to 155, I got to maintain it then around 155, and I'll put that bag of grains in there for 20 minutes. Okay, we got about 156 there. So we're going to add the cheesecloth bag of grains. Push it down with a spoon real quick. Just get it all wet. And you're going to see that stuff is going to start to leach out of that bag into the hot water. But anyway, it's starting to leach out of that bag into the water. So now we got to let it in there for 20 minutes and try and keep it around 155. Stupid beagles. So you got to steep these grains for 20 minutes. Then you got to, I think you bring it to a boil. Then you take it off the heat and you stir in the malt extract and the lactose. Then you bring it back to another rolling boil. And you're going to do that for about an hour, and that's when you add your hops and stuff. So during that 1 hour boil time, you have plenty of time to sanitize your equipment for your fermenter and stuff. And it's much easier to maintain this temperature if you have like a gas stove or even a propane fire for your kettle. It's kind of difficult with this electric stove. You got to kind of turn it on and off, but I do my best. And let me mention just real quick, if anybody out there watching this is interested in doing small volume home brewing, I love the channel STONEYARD Vineyards. It's on YouTube. He's got an excellent channel. He generally brews 5 gallons at a time. He's much more advanced than me. He doesn't buy kits. He buys all the individual ingredients. He grows his own hops. He just made a second batch of what he called Screaming Yellow Monkey. I think it's a chocolate peanut butter stout, which sounds yummy. But anyways, look up STONEYARD Vineyards. He's funny. He really knows what he's doing with brewing beer, and it's a really good channel. Now when you're steeping these grains for the 20 minutes, and I got about 5 minutes left on my timer, it's really critical that you don't let it get too hot. That's why you're supposed to maintain it around 155, 156. If you let it get too hot, it will, I think it releases all kinds of nasty tannins, and it'll make a beer that's not very good. Okay, my timer's going off. It's been 20 minutes. So now I need to get that cheesecloth bag of grains out of there. And you don't want to squeeze the bag and squeeze excess out of it. Once again, they say that'll get you unwanted tannins. So I have a pair of tongs here which are sanitized. Anything that touches your beer should be sanitized. When in doubt, sanitize. So I got these sanitized tongs. I'm going to fish this guy out, let some of the juice drain out of it, and I'm going to throw it right in the trash. And since I'm a dog lover, quick note, I think I read that do not let your dogs get a hold of these used grains. I think it can make them very sick. So these are going into the trash can. And then we're going to crank the heat up on this thing. I'll put the tongs back in the sanitizer. We are now going to crank the heat up and try to get it up to a boil where we just see the first bubble or two of boil. And I just keep all my implements soaking in that bowl of sanitizer till I get to my rolling boil. Then I'll dump that sanitizer in my fermenter and sanitize it, and then I'll dump it back into that bowl. But yeah, I just keep everything right in there because it's no rinse sanitizer. You can see we're getting some bubbles, so we're gonna turn the heat off and we're gonna slide this guy off the heat. And now we're gonna stir in the malt extract and the lactose. And with this no rinse sanitizer, you almost can't over sanitize. So I even sanitize my kitchen scissors that I'm going to use to cut open this plastic bag of extract. We're going to cut this guy open. Since I'm cutting the bag open, I sanitize my scissors. My spoon is sanitized. So now what you want to do is you want to pour this stuff in, but you don't want to pour it all in at one time. You want to pour it in and stir it because you don't want it to clump up. You want it to dissolve and mix in really good. And boy, is that starting to look and smell good. Knock that a little bit off that sticks to the bag because of the steam. Now we're going to cut open the bag of lactose and stir him in. Once again, nice and slow. Not all beers come with lactose kits. This one did because it's a chocolate and milk stout, so they give you lactose. So we cut that open with the sanitized scissors, and we're going to dump this guy in and stir him in real slow. And this seems like it doesn't dissolve quite as easy as the malt extract. It's a little grainier. So we got all that in there. Now we need to bring it to a boil again for 60 minutes. And that's normally at some point you would put in your bittering hops, either at the beginning at 60 minutes or at 30 minutes. This kit didn't come with any bittering hops, which I find very unusual. It's the first time I've ever done this kit. So hopefully everything will work out. But I'm going to crank the burner back up to high, slide it back over there, and bring it up to a rolling boil. It doesn't have to be a real severe boil, just a rolling boil. And after you get this boil going and you add your hops, you're 90% done with the brewing process. I mentioned no hops came with this one. Maybe if Stoney from STONEYARD Vineyards watches this video, maybe he can tell me why in the comments or whatever. Because this is the first time I've ever done a kit that didn't have, bittering hops with it. Now, when you're bringing this to a boil and you're first starting to boil it, you kind of really got to watch it because it will boil over pretty easily. So right now, it's started to come to a rolling boil, so I'm turning my heat down right now. And I'm just going to try and keep it doing a rolling boil like that. And I'm going to set my timer for 60 minutes. And we'll let that guy do a roll. But you can see it's starting to foam up. It will try to boil over on you, so you really got to watch it. So it's starting to foam up, but I started with my sanitized spoon, and now it went back down. Now you can see I'm going to keep dialing it down, just get a nice rolling boil. At this point, this is where it really starts to smell good. If you smell that boiling wort right now, boy, does it smell good. And it doesn't even have the chocolate in it yet. So you can see I got a nice rolling boil going now. I got 56 minutes left on timer, so now I'm going to sanitize my fermenter. So I just dumped the entire gallon of sanitizer from the bowl and what was left in the jug in this fermenter. I'm going to use my little Mr. Beer 2-gallon fermenter. It's just quick and easy. But if you guys watched my last video, you know how this works. I just sit here and shake it all around, upside down everything. Make sure you get the lid. Make sure you get all the surfaces coated. I open and close the spigot a few times. Make sure it gets sanitized through the inside. So we're going to sanitize this, then we're going to dump it back out into the bowl. Okay, our 60-minute boil is done. So I took it off the heat. Now we're going to ice bath it because we need to get it down to below 75 degrees to pitch the yeast so that the heat won't kill the yeast. So I'm gonna ice bath that guy. You wanna cool it as quick as you can to really minimize contamination. So I'm gonna ice bath it and cool it down below 75. Then I'm gonna put it in my fermenter, which is all sanitized, and we'll pitch the yeast. Okay, we got the wort down to about 70 degrees in the ice bath, so it's time to pour it into the fermenter. Like I said, I probably don't need the strainer, but I'm gonna strain it going in anyways. Usually I don't get that much, especially since I didn't have to add any hops. I'm really not going to get any junk. Everything else pretty much dissolved in the boil. But anyways, there it is. It's in the fermenter. Now we can pitch the yeast. Okay, we got the yeast open. Say if you use scissors to cut it open, be sure you sanitize your scissors. We're going to sprinkle the yeast in there. And we're going to stir it very gently, just to get it all mixed up with our sanitized spoon. We got the yeast in there. We're going to do a quick little easy stir. And then we have to top this thing off with more fresh spring water to make 1 gallon. So that's what we're going to do next. So my fermenter has marks on it for a gallon and stuff. Got some more spring water here. Pretty much at room temperature. So we're going to dump it in until we get 4 quarts or a gallon. Because you lose a lot of water when you're doing your boil and stuff. So you have to add fresh spring water to it. There we go. There's about a gallon. So we're going to give that another quick little stir. And then we're going to cap it and put it in a cooler up in the man cave where the temperature stays pretty decent. And we're going to let it sit for a week, and then we'll put the chocolate nibs in. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty much ready to sit and ferment now. Put my cap on and I'm good to go.
And I'll see you on the next video.